So we're here. This is Dr. Margaret Mertens. We're in her clinic in Marshfield, Wisconsin. And I've just about jumped all over Margaret to shut up and start telling me the same things. We've been talking off camera, and we're talking about health source and rehab and guidelines, and she's saying all the things that I wanted to get on tape. So here we go. Let's just kind of ramble along, and we'll talk about Jamie and how you got her, and about rehab, and about anything else you want to say about systems, because you seem pretty passionate about what you found here.
I will have to say, anybody who doesn't join Health Source, in my opinion, is insane. I was, for example, I was just looking for a new system for running the front desk, you know, the new computer system that had ways to measure everything. I'd started systematizing. I read all of Gerber's work. I actually even hired Gerber's company to be a coach to me. And I'll tell you, they didn't do very well. I had no better, I mean, I had really a desire for systems. I realized how vital they were, and I had no more ability to put them into place than, you know, before I had their multi-thousand-dollar training program than afterward. And that part was really sad. I already had, you know, like first they were like, you got to have a mission. I had all that in place. I had I'd done all the reading. I'd done everything. And I seemed almost, I don't know what I could say. It felt hopeless being able, as much as I knew I needed systems, it was not happening. Things were not happening. And one thing, just for example, as I started to try to put in things there were measurements, that was kind of my weakness. I would set up a system for something, but I wouldn't have a measurement on it. And because I didn't have a measurement on it, it would fall out, and, you know, I wasn't retraining on it over and over like Health Source has taught me to do, where you just keep going over and over and recognize that things do fall out. Instead, I'd get a system in place, I'd teach it and practice it to the nth degree, and then forget about it, assuming it was just supposed to be done. Just because I do something over and over and over and over again, I thought all the staff was going to do the same thing. They didn't. So I'm looking at a computer system. How can I measure? Are the staff asking the patients to schedule for their entire month, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And just the systems I was looking, just for the software, I'm talking $20,000 for the system. Well, a little bit more and you're almost at the franchise, for goodness sakes. Sure. I mean, it was absurd when I saw this incredible computer system that did more than I was even looking for. Yep. Not to mention a whole group of people behind it that are constantly updating it besides. And so, I mean, when I met Health Source, it was like, oh, this is what I've been looking for. Now, I'm not going to say that it was just like, oh, boom, all of a sudden you guys have the systems, now they're superimposed over mine and it's done. I still had to put them into place, but at the same time it made things just that much easier, because there was somebody reminding me about the follow-through. There was somebody else saying, listen, it's normal for things to be dropped out if they're not continually repeated over and over again. And instead of me having something drop out and then blowing my stack, you know, when I find out 6 months later that it hasn't been being done for the last 3 months or, you know, 6 months, you know, instead there's this constant reminder every 6 weeks, everything's gone over again and again, and everything's brought up to date, and oh, we forgot here, we slipped here, let's just tweak it, instead of these, you know, roller coaster rides of, oh good, it looks like everything's in place, oh lousy, everything's not in place, you know, off and on, which is, I was in that roller coaster big time.
Well, I have to say, because you're not going to toot your own horn, Margaret has quite a clinic here. I mean, we're talking a little bit about the rehab and the systems. She's got a lot of other things running here. She's got biological terrain, she's got a lot of kinesiology, she's got, I mean, you've got a lot going on here. But what impresses me is that you're doing most of those kind of clinics that I see, because I've seen a lot of the more esoteric clinics with, you know, a lot of nutritional testing and things like that. They don't have very good strength in terms of musculoskeletal stuff, in terms of rehab. They might do a little, you know, origin and insertion work with kinesiology, but we saw up there, you've got a lot going on rehab-wise.
Oh yeah. It's essential.
I'm going to step back here now.
You really can't have one without the other. I mean, if you try to rehabilitate a body that doesn't have the building blocks for rehabilitation, you're thwarting some of your efforts. If you try to give the body something building blocks, but you don't ask the body to use it, you're not really helping out either. You've got to have cellular turnover. You've got to retrain. I mean, the same thing that you have to train staff so that things run smoothly and easily. You've got to train a body at the same time, and you have to train it by giving it the nutrients that it needs so that it makes healthy cells to replace dying ones. And you have to, oxygenate those cells through simple rehab, as well as retrain the body as to how you want things to be in balance and in general, at ease, I guess. There's the old chiropractic dis-ease, and it's astonishing. I can't tell you, at least 80% of the people who come here who have sleep difficulties. I haven't even started addressing that yet, when their sleep difficulties are gone, simply because their body is now functioning at ease. It doesn't take them 2 and 3 times as much energy to walk across the room because they're not doing all kinds of crazy compensatory things. So I really believe that if you're doing nutritional work without musculoskeletal, and especially the neurological musculoskeletal work, you're missing it. It really has to be a combination of all of them if you're going to deliver a really top-notch first class. And that's one of the other things I loved about Health Source. In their systems, right in their day 1, check for this, this, and this. Day 2, check for this, this, and this. The nutrition is right in there. The rehab is right in there. You get started right away. We have the blessing of having Steve Yeomans, who's, renowned throughout the United States, right in our state, and he helped our state write workman's compensation law. And through that training, there were chiropractors, they were grumbling and moaning because he said, no such thing as stim for 82 visits, and we have a lovely work comp law here where you really can get an opportunity to treat a patient like they should be treated. But the new guidelines say, get them out of passive care and into active care as quickly as you possibly can. Yeah, we understand if you need a little extra here and there because they got sore from some of the active care, not a big deal. But the exact same model that Health Source puts through. They don't have any problem with people using nutrients, especially first class stuff like the omega-3s, that Cardio Omega that Health Source has for decreasing inflammation. They have no issue with doing that as long as you are treating the person neurologically, musculoskeletally, and getting them into that active care and getting them into it, right away so that their body can start reconditioning. And I'll have to say, unfortunately, it's not that common around here. All these people sitting, I'm sitting in a room with a couple 100 chiropractors listening to the new guidelines, and they're going, you mean, how are we supposed to get that done? And it's like, you know what? There's a system for doing that. I have a fabulous guy who is, obviously you can tell from looking at him, a gym rat, and he also has a massage therapy degree. It works out perfectly for him. He gets to do everything he loves, and he can assist me, and the people can get what they need, and I can, just do the doctor work and ask for what needs to be done, but not have to do every single step of it. And even the associate that I have now, this fabulous associate, Dr. Jamie Cahan, she came up from Chicago, and she was in a first-rate clinic down in Chicago area. Well, we're in kind of like Buku Nowhere, Wisconsin. And her home currently is actually closer to a city that's approximately 3 times this little burg I'm in of 18,000 people. And she called around everywhere. She couldn't find another clinic that was holding itself to the standards and protocols where active rehab was being done on a regular basis, where patients' entire health was brought into mind. Even something as simple as simple inserts in the shoes. She fell in love with sole supports. She'd been using another company like I had been, and when she saw what the difference is and saw the video that was made for the Health Source stocks, it's just genius stuff. We've already, she's been here for a whole whopping almost 2 weeks.
Right.
And she has sold 11 pair of orthotics in 2 weeks. To the patients that she's been working.
She's hardly even been here.
Yeah, and she's not even, I'm doing all the casting because she's not even certified to cast them yet. Because she sees this really vital link between the foundation, the musculoskeletal component. She's using nutrient. She's even brought some additional knowledge in that I hadn't seen or worked with yet. And it just makes it such a dream, and the patients are having a blast. We've we've overstepped every one of our stats all week long, every single day this week. We're above all of our goals for new patients as well as patient visits.
So it hasn't been, so how long again have you been working with Health Source?
I became a Health Source doctor on July 1, and actually my training was mid-July of
just
2008.
2000. Okay,
yeah.
Okay. And you have, obviously you're pumped about the whole thing.
Oh,
And it's not like you haven't been around the block in terms of systems and
yes.
practice management. And, I mean, obviously you're into...
Can we say hundreds of thousands of dollars?
And you're not exaggerating, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
And I've had every kind of clinic as well. And it is definitely not, nobody's incapable of taking wherever they're at, whichever way they're practicing, and changing it.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a clinic where I saw 200 patients a day.
Mm-hmm.
And, I only worked 3 days a week, so I only saw 600 patients because I only adjusted on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I was gone every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But I was speaking. I was running all over the nation. I was speaking in chiropractic conferences and in Europe and in Australia and all kinds of places. So I was having a blast doing that. But it became evident really fast when I decided I thought I might want to sell the practice. I was offered a great position teaching at one of the chiropractic colleges. Mm-hmm. My background is in quantum physics and turning things from a biomechanical to a more bioenergetic model. I was offered a position to go into a chiropractic college and change their curriculum into a bioenergetic curriculum, and I'll tell you, that was like my dream. Wow. And tried to sell my practice, and lo and behold, in 1 week the practice crashed down to like 30 patients because the practice was built on me. It didn't have systems. It was me.
Okay.
It was entirely me. And that was a really big awakener, that if I didn't want to keep being in that clinic adjusting and having everything depend on me, that I better get some systems. And I'll have to tell you, that's a longer and harder quest than my quest to become a chiropractor. It really was. I mean, this college was done in 8 years. This quest for systems has gone on an awful lot longer, and I don't know that I could ever explain to Chris Tomczak enough, except that he's been through it.
Sure.
He's been down the road, so I think he could grasp. But what he offers with HealthSource is just beyond anybody's imagination. I look at the people who are in the system, who aren't using it, or who are like reluctant to put things into place, and I think to myself, you have no idea what you have. The same way I feel sometimes about chiropractic, where patients come in and we know that the things that we're doing with them every day, day in and day out, year in and year out, is making a difference in their whole life. And